Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. So you've got me talking about what's been going on recently, or at least recently when it was recorded. 10k running, that's the theme of this one. Buying games cheap. TV series and movies, taking your kids to the cinema. It's all here. It's all in this episode. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Drop any reviews you might want to drop. And let's just generally get this podcast out into the world. Right, let's get started. So here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Hello. How you doing? You alright? You well? You good? You good? Good. There we go. That's good. I'm going to say this right off the bat. Don't think this is going to be a long one. Been a bit of a weird week in the sense that I've been putting a lot of focus into one thing. And because of that, it's kind of taken focus away from everything else, I guess. So, best thing we can do is get started. So, I don't know if I mentioned at some point, but I was training for a 10k, the York 10k. What I mean by that was that I completely ignored the fact that it was coming up. Worked on the principle that I'd get round to training for it at some point. And then it was weeks away. It was like, oh, it's a month away. Okay, well, a month is still time. I can still train for a 10k in a month. Oh, it's 3 weeks away. Yeah, I can do it. I can get the lead out. It'll be fine. One of the biggest problems that I faced, one of the biggest problems I faced was that I suffered an injury. Very common for me, especially at big run times. My sciatica, which hadn't been bothering me for quite a while. A twinge of the back, and next thing, the sciatica is the worst it's ever been. If you've never suffered with sciatica, I would do everything in your power to keep it that way. If you have, you'll understand that it was basically at the point where it was stopping me being able to walk. So the thought of training for a 10k, not high on the list. And that then started the slide towards, is this doable? Now, in the majority of situations, to the point that I can't think of a situation where it would be different, if I sign up to do something, if I say I'm going to do something, then I will do everything possible to do it. Now, I was in a situation where it was very much a case of, if needs be, I'll walk it. But it was looking a bit suspect on the walking front. So we're 3 weeks out. Get to 2 weeks out, the sciatica starts to ease off, and I can start the training. And then, as we know, a couple of weeks ago, I was very unwell. That lasted days. So I came out the other side of that with managing to, in my weakened state, manage to re-trigger the sciatica, and lost 4 days of quote-unquote training, which brought us to the week of the 10k, starting with Monday of the week that the 10k is on the Sunday. No official training had been done at this point in time, recovering from sickness and dealing with sciatica, crippling sciatica. So Monday, I go out. I'm like, right, we need to get 3.5 miles under our belt. Went out, got 1.8 miles in. The sciatica kicked in with a vengeance to the point that I actually had to walk. And basically from that point on, walked 40% of the quote-unquote run. Got back home and decided this is possibly it. This is potentially the point where I have to say no. I no matter how much I want to, even walking it took me like an hour to do 3.5 miles. I was like, it just can't be that way. I can't be the guy that takes 2 hours to hobble 10k. But I will. I was saying to my brother-in-law, who I was running it with, I was like, you potentially might have to work on the principle you're going to do this on your own, and you're just going to have to leave me, and I'll just walk it. But I had an idea. I had a plan. And the plan was to use drugs to get through it. Something you may or may not know is that I generally try to stay away from any sort of painkiller. Unless extreme cases arise. A little while ago I had to take painkillers because I had a wisdom tooth pulled out by a dentist, which I was then informed afterwards that's not how that's supposed to be done. I was in the worst pain I've ever experienced in my life. I had to take painkillers for days. Outside of that, I try not to. Good few years ago, I got into a system where any kind of pain, headache, take painkillers. Twinge, take painkillers. Slipped into that situation of, and I'm not proud of this at all, but it slipped into a situation of taking painkillers basically to get out of bed. Because, you very quickly convince yourself that things hurt. Past a certain point in time in my life, I just was like, this isn't it. This isn't what we're doing. So that was that. And now, don't touch them as a rule. Because of that, if there's a situation where I do need to take painkillers, what's good for me is they work quite well and they work quite quickly. So I was like, right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a little test. I'm going to eat half a banana, take 2 paracetamol, and go and run on Tuesday. But we need to be breaking the 4-mile mark at this point. So I went out. That's what I did. I had half a banana, 2 painkillers. Out the door I went. Round about the 1.8, 2-mile mark, the painkillers were kind of like, I don't know if they were working or if that was the point where they started working, but I felt pain, but it wasn't pain enough to stop me. It wasn't pain enough for me to have to walk. I could continue running, and got up to the 4-mile mark. I'm like, okay, for the sake of getting through this run, I know that there are stronger painkillers in our house. So the plan was to do paracetamol all the way up to Sunday for any runs, get the distance up, and then basically go with strong painkillers on the Sunday, do the 10k. Decided it was a good idea to still take a rest day from running on Wednesday. I don't run on a Wednesday, so I thought, let's keep that. Thursday, half banana, painkillers, out the door, 4 miles. Friday, half a banana, 2 painkillers, out the door, 5.15 miles. Now, anybody who knows will tell you 10k is 6.2 miles. So, the way things were going, everything was on track. Saturday, rest day. Don't normally have a rest day on a Saturday from running. Had a rest day from everything. I needed to be as tip-top condition as I could be for the run. So that was that. We were prepped and ready to go. Brother-in-law came over for it. We got dropped off. We walked over. I was representing St Leonard's Hospice, which I had contact with them about doing the run for them. Had my race number. Took painkillers before leaving the house. Took the strong ones. Took paracetamol with me. Went off to the race. And that was that basically. And we got in our position and we set off and we ran. And shortest version of this is that I completed the 10k. It's longer. The completion time was longer than the first time I did it. But I'm just not in the same sort of position that I was 7 years ago. And that was that. Or so you would think. So, Lan's mum, Donna, bless her cottons, she came down to cheer. She popped up at various different points on the run, which was amusing at various points. It's like, hey, there's Donna again. One of the things that she was doing was she'd take a picture. Me and Simon would go past, do a little video, capture the moment. When I got finished and stuff, I was checking my phone. I was like, oh, look, there's all these pictures and stuff. Now, pardon me, the bib that St Leonard's gave me was blue. Not an amazing colour for me. I'm more of a black t-shirt kind of guy. Very much because it hides a lot. When you're a larger gentleman, it does good for hiding things. Blue bib, let's put it this way, accentuated the lumps and the bumps. So first video I watched and I was like, oh my God, I look awful in that bib. Next thing, there's photographs. I was like, oh, those photos are awful. Not the photos that have been taken. Me in the photos was awful. It was disgusting to look at. It was repulsive. All I could think was I felt sorry for anybody that had seen me. It was awful. Then more videos that highlighted that when I'm saying the word running, what I should be saying is shuffling. There was a point that I knew something was wrong because my brother-in-law said to me, oh man, my knee's hurting. I'm going to have to walk for a bit. I was like, you do what you got to do, man. I'm fine with that. So he started walking and he kept up with me, quote unquote, running. And after a while, I was like, something's really wrong here because I'm running and he's walking and we're going the same speed. So these videos came which highlighted that it's not even jogging. It's shuffling. I shuffle along. It was awful to see. The pictures, the videos. It was just like, what exactly do I think I am doing? Obviously not the best time. These photos and these videos. And ultimately, I got to the end of this process, and I was like, I should feel really good about this. I ran 10K. I set out to do it, and I did. I dealt with injury. I dealt with poor training. I dealt with all of that. I have never felt so bad about doing something that I should have felt good about. I felt awful. I felt miserable. I've dealt with today. I've dealt with the, you know what, sod it. Let's get fat. Because as Bill Burr said, you don't need a trainer to get fat. You can do it lying on the sofa. I'm paraphrasing. I will say this, as far as the run's concerned, and I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but I do feel it's probably something that might need bringing up. It's hands down one of the worst runs I've done. I've never experienced a run like that. I do think that they might need to look at some sort of like ruling around people walking and how people walking should step off to the side and allow people who are quote unquote running to get past. We've got this major bottleneck situation going. It felt super claustrophobic. Everybody's running at different paces. You've got people who are walking that just seem to be, for want of a better way of putting it, in the way. It was, as far as the run atmosphere, I didn't enjoy that side of it. To add to that, we got stuck with these two women. And again, they're doing their own thing, and I get it. But they seem to be doing the walk for a minute, run for a minute. And they had a timer running. So every minute it beeped. And they were obviously faster at running than we were. Not my brother-in-law, but my brother-in-law was keeping pace with me. Faster than running than I was, but slower walking than I was. So once we hit these two women with their thing that beeped every minute for what will have been 45 minutes, could not get rid of them. It was physically impossible to get rid of them. It was driving me up the fucking wall. The whole situation just wasn't, it just didn't feel great. There was the start where we were all penned in, and I'm like, how many of these people do you suppose are going to get pinged tomorrow? It was, I've never felt that way doing a run like that. It felt claustrophobic. It felt annoying. I've always just run along at my own pace and never felt like I had to contend with other runners. But this was bad. I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was, why it was the way it was. So there we go. A situation that should probably have been a good thing, but honestly, I've never felt so awful. I felt like I don't want to run anymore because I don't want people to see me running. I feel like I don't want to work out anymore because what exactly is it that I am doing? I'm not progressing. I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not getting any stronger. I'm not losing any weight. What am I doing with my time? Honestly, I have never felt like this about a situation like this. I just want to give up. I just don't want to do it anymore. Bearing in mind, admittedly, I didn't run today, but I never intended to run today. But I did go to the gym, and I did go swimming for an hour and a half with my older children. Speaking of, me and my eldest have got this thing at the moment. I've got it in my head that, and I've talked about this before, but I've got it in my head that she should be able to swim quite consistently by this point. And she reached a point where she started having swimming lessons with school. And the stuff that we were doing together just wasn't working, but the stuff that she was doing with school seemed to be working well. So I kind of was like, okay, well, let's leave school to deal with this. Let's leave school to do it, because it seems to be working. Whatever they're doing seems to be working. We went swimming today. I learned a very, very, very important lesson. When somebody being a child, says that they don't need a swimming aid, like armbands, do not listen to that child. This was nothing to do with her. This was my fault. I should have just taken the bag that had all of the armbands in. We had 3 armbands for 2 children. Well, 6 armbands, but you get it. You get what I mean. And it wasn't enough. It's a real difficult thing, because I've talked about this before, but I've been into swimming since I was little. But I was forced to learn to swim. I was forced to learn to swim. There was no ands, ifs, or buts. I was learning to swim, and that was that. That was the be-all and end-all. And it's one of the few things in life that I'm now grateful for. I love being in the water. I love swimming. I'm not very good at it, but I am in other ways, if that makes any sense. I'm not going to win any races, but I can do, like, funky shit in the pool. Sculling. Does anybody remember sculling? I can do stuff like that. So we ended up in a bit of a situation with this sort of deadlocked situation where I wanted her to swim and she didn't want to swim, but she never does. She never wants to swim. So I had to find a way to motivate her. And I was like, I tell you what, if you can swim down there, I wouldn't normally do this, but afterwards I'll buy you a treat from the vending machine. So that started out like a bit of a motivator. Didn't work well. But by the time we left, she was able to do what I was wanting her to do. And I felt it was an achievement. It's these situations where I'm not entirely sure that I handled them right. I don't want to upset. But then, where is the balance? Where's the balance in you're a certain age and you should be able to do certain things by now, and the fact that you can't? It's not great. So let's do it, shall we? I don't know. It's one of those things as a parent, I'm still trying to find the balance. And I don't know if I'm necessarily getting it right. That is kind of the week done. Like I said at the start, I got very little this week because of this whole 10k issue. I was getting radgy. Anyone remember that? I was getting angry with stuff because I knew that I was just in this position where I was like, I am not ready for this run. But it has been a bit all-consuming, so that's that. I started to watch The Sandman. I've watched 3 episodes. First 2 episodes were really good. I was really digging it. I was really into it. I was really enjoying it. And then I watched the 3rd episode and I was a bit like, oh, don't tell me you've done that thing where you've front-loaded the series to draw people in and then you've just taken your foot off the gas. The 3rd episode was super slow and not a lot happened. And I was like, you're putting me off already. One of the sort of negative things about it is CG heavy. And that gets to be a bit of a problem. You get like sort of CG sickness. You're just like, it looks great, but none of it's real. And you're just a bit like, come on. But like I say, looks good sort of thing. But it's like, yeah, on the screen right now, the only thing that's real is that person. And I question how real they are. It's that kind of thing. I think it was the second episode had this really sad bit in it. But it came good in the end, and that's the important thing. What's nice about it is I quite like the guy that they've got playing the Sandman. I wanted to look him up to see what else he's done, because I don't overly recognise him. One of the bad guys, or the bad guy in it, was in Logan, and I feel like he's a really good choice for it. One of the other things that I really like about it is it's super British, or at least it has been so far. Super British, which is always nice to see. So I imagine I will stick with that. Something I made a note of, not something that I necessarily wanted to talk about the content, but just the situation more than anything. I've been buying my eldest DC animated movies. I'm sure anybody who's listened to this more than once will know. We're into DC animated movies in our house. We've been picking up some of the cheap ones. Not that I'm cheap, but when you're buying a lot, you know. There was some weird offer on Amazon. I kept putting some of them in my basket. And it's like, this is £6, but when you put it in your basket to pay for it, it's £4.50. So I'm like, well, I was going to buy one, but now I'm going to buy two. That sort of thing. I saw something recently and I was like, do you know something? I looked it up a little bit and I was like, it sounds alright. I went out on a limb. I bought something called Vixen. Vixen is a DC character, a female hero. She, using the power of her totem necklace, she can call on the abilities of animals, which makes for interesting situations. Any DC fan out there? She had a reasonably big role in the Justice League Unlimited cartoon. Got her own show. Couple of well-known names in there, because the guy that plays Arrow in the TV series Arrow and the guy that plays The Flash in the TV series The Flash reprise both roles in this DC animated movie. Took a punt on it, ordered it, it turned up, job done. And it very much was taking a punt, because I was like, she knows the character, but she doesn't know the character. Like, she's seen something with the character in, but she won't know much about it. I don't know about this series. I've never heard of this series which they've turned into a movie. So, took a punt. And as with anything like that, when children are involved, was explaining to her that I'd bought this and thought she might find it interesting. Huge pile of films for her to watch. I picked up some DVC stuff, picked up the second Turtles film, stuff like that. Having watched a trailer, she said to me, to start off with, I was like, what do you think you were going to watch first? She was like, I might watch Turtles, the second Turtles film, because I watched the first one recently, or Vixen. I'm like, that's interesting. Showed her a trailer for it. I asked her again, what do you think you're going to watch first? She was like, Vixen. So we put it on and we watched it, and it was really good. I thought it was really well done. It was enjoyable. Turned out that it was a load of episodes of a TV series condensed down into a movie. But that was fine. It was cool. It was enjoyable. Took everybody to the cinema. We like going to the cinema. At least I think we do. Long time coming, but we finally got to go and see DC League of Super Pets. The Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart and others DC animated movie. But this is a CG animated movie. We've been waiting for this film for what feels like a couple of years. DC are going through some real problems at the moment. They've canned a load of films that were made, or they're changing films. They're having a change of direction at the top of the company. DC are really struggling just to find their feet, I think. And to fill some of the void, they've moved some films around for release. DC Super Pets was supposed to come out a bajillion times between when it was supposed to be released and now, but it's finally come out. Now then, one of the problems that DC has is, and I'm not going to say any names here because I don't want to get into trouble, but I personally believe in my conspiracy theory mind that there are companies out there that will pay hefty sums of money to get bad reviews of DC films out there into the ether. I can't imagine which company that would be. So, DC League of Super Pets had some pretty bad reviews. I think the highest score I saw it get was about a 7 out of 10, which is fine. But it had some pretty bad reviews. Armed with this knowledge, I took the children to see DC League of Super Pets. And was pleasantly surprised. Something I want to get out first. When the film started, it came up on the screen and it said it was a PG. And I went, what? This isn't a CG animated movie. CG animated movie is never a PG. This should be a U or nothing. So I looked at the reason that it'd been given. And there was a mention of some sort of violence, and I was like, well, they are superheroes, I suppose. Turns out, not the reason it had the PG rating. The reason it had the PG rating is that one of the characters' kind of origin stories was horrific. I sat watching it going, really? Really? This is what we're doing? Because this is strong. Outside of that, I was pleasantly surprised by the film because I had it in my head. I was like, they're going to be disappointed because it's not going to be very good. It was really good. It had some jokes in it that even though we were sat in the cinema, I proper laughed out loud at points where everybody else was quiet. And I didn't care. I was like, I am enjoying this film. I don't care who knows that. We're all here for the same reason. I did that, like, some of the performances were really wooden, and obviously that's from a voice acting perspective. I didn't agree with that. I thought the voice acting was fine. Honestly, if you've got kids and it's still the summer holidays, get them down to the cinema to watch Super Pets. It's hilarious. Great story. Great characters. I can't say enough good stuff about it. One of the things that did disappoint me, and this is not about the film, having gone to see it, I said to all of my children, did you enjoy it? Yes I did. Wonderful. Would you watch it again? Yes, no. I went, what? You won't watch it again? No. Why not? Turns out the bit that I said was quite graphic was a little upsetting to one of my children, and for that, she did not want to go through that again. I can kind of understand that. Honestly, I cannot say enough good stuff about it. I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. Give you an 8.5 if you want, if you work in halves. I'll be buying it when it comes out, I know that much, and I'll force my children to watch it again because I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's got, for anybody who's into this sort of stuff, it has not one, it has 2 after credit scenes. The second one is after the credits, so you will need to stay till the end. Computer games. Anybody who's been listening for a little while will know that I've been really struggling with computer games. Do I need to remind you of the Power Wash Simulator episode. Ultimately, I've needed a game that I could get my teeth into. Ultimately, I've needed a game that is going to give me everything I'm looking for. I need a game to really immerse myself in. And I'm here, ladies and gentlemen, to tell you that it has happened. And it's not one game, it's 3. I'm a big Sniper Elite fan. But I was aware for a long time that there was another Sniper franchise, and I just never bothered with it. Franchise in question is Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts. There are 1, 2, and 3. Now then, what I love, as we know, is looking for stuff that's cheap. This is £20. Okay, not in my world, it's not. If I can get it for £8, I'm buying it. If I can get it for 12, special edition, I'm all over it. I say these things because these are actual things that have happened. I made a mistake. I asked for the 3rd one for my birthday and managed to pick it up for something like £5 digitally. I was fine with that until realising that 1 and 2 were A, still available, and B, looked super cool. I went, damn it, I've really fucked up here. So I went about a searching. Decided to work backwards on this one. Found Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2 should have been £25. Found a website that was selling it for 16, turned out to be a scam. Found 2 opposing websites. One would sell it to me for £19.95. The other would sell it to me for £19.90. I went, well, it's a 5p saving. Check the delivery. Both sites offered free delivery. I was like, well, I'll just go with the 5p cheaper. Placed the order and then went, hang on a minute. That's the PS5 version. So I paid 5p less for the PS5 version versus the PS4 version. Cannot explain it to you. Do not understand it. I ordered it at 10 o'clock at night. By 10 o'clock the next morning, I had a dispatch notification. And the day after, it turned up at my house. I was like, well, this is a solid win. But I wasn't satisfied, ladies and gents. I wasn't satisfied because I found out that Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 1 was still available to buy. Well, let's have a look, shall we? Ah, balls. It's £25 to buy. Cool, that's a lot of money. I waited. And then one evening, I decided to go on to the Xbox. I've been playing a lot of Xbox recently. I go on the Xbox. There's a sale, 80% sale. Let's just randomly have a look, shall we? Got down into the S's and, oh, what's this? Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 1, the only sniper game that was in the list. Went into it. Oh, should it be £25? Yeah. Do you want £9 for it? Yeah, you do, don't you? Interesting, though, because I can buy the special edition of it for £12, or, if I didn't already own it, I could have had the first one and the third one as a bundle for, I think it was £20. I was like, I'll go for the middle option, please. So I managed to get the special edition version for £12. So I started playing it. Started playing the first one. What a roller coaster it's been. It's taken me days and days and days, but I've actually finished the first level now. The levels are very much broken up into giant maps with individual objectives. Those objectives can take you days. I'm not joking. Days to complete. And that's me because I'm shit at games. Took me to the point where I finished the first level bought a load of upgrades to realise that my sniper rifle had a zoom. Yep, completed the entire first level, took me about a week, and never realised that I could have zoomed in on the sniper rifle. I knew that you could adjust the height, but yeah, you can also zoom in. That's fun. Something that's super weird about it as a game, you get like a mission intro, which you can't skip. Now, I get the reason for this because you spend days doing the same mission and you probably want a bit of a reminder. But the intro is really long and you can't skip it at all. After about the third time of this happening, I was like, I'm bored of this. I haven't played many games like this. I truly believe that it was too hard for me. But in actual fact, it's all about learning the mechanics. There are a lot which doesn't help. But if you're willing to dedicate the time and the effort and replay stuff over and over and over again, eventually things start clicking and you can start getting those sweet sniper shots. Very much like when I played Splinter Cell, and I'm going to get bitten in the ass for this because I'm only on the second level, so I can guarantee that I'll go and play it in a bit and I won't be able to do it, saying that this is what I was looking for. But I've got 3 of them, so if one of them's not right, maybe the others are. It's very much a game that is consuming me. It's one of those that I get up on a morning and I'm like, oh man, I really wish I was playing Sniper. And then I go off about my day. But this is very much what I need from games at the moment. I don't know 100% why that is. I might have an inkling, but this probably isn't the forum for it. Speaking of buying games cheap, recently I had an urge to play an old game, 360 era game. I think it got a remaster around about the PS4 era. But every time I looked at it, it was super expensive. Saints Row 4. That's right, you heard me right. Saints Row 4. There's a new Saints Row coming out. That's not the reason. The reason I wanted to play it is because the one where you get superpowers and you can jump all over the city with superpowers. That was the only reason I wanted to play it. Could I find it at a reasonable price? Could I? Hell. Again, super weird, but the other day, I put the Xbox on. No, that's not true. I had the Xbox on and I was about to go to bed. And I turned the game off. And on the main screen, Saints Row, huge sale, up to 80% off. I went into it and I could get Saints Row 4, the remastered edition. No, that's Red Faction, isn't it? Whatever it is. Remaster, basically. For £4 something. That included Get Out of Hell, which I own on the PlayStation. I was like, screw it, I'm buying it. £4.87, I think it was. 2 games, bosh. So I've had a little bit of a play on that. I've played it loads of times before. The annoying thing about that game is that having played it multiple times, you know that you have to get through the beginning of the game before you get into the superheroing side of things. I'm now in the superhero side of things and just running around. I let my kids have a go on it this afternoon. Don't think they were overly impressed, if I'm honest. But yeah. Weird things are occurring at Circle K. All these cheap games that just randomly appear out of nowhere when you want them to or when you least expect it. That's it. Not maybe as short as I thought it would have been, but it's still a short one. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being here. I do appreciate you. And I'll catch you next time. So there we go. What do you think of that? Another one done. Another one in the bag. Thanks for listening along. Thanks for watching along. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for like, share, subscribe and comment if you're doing that sort of thing. Do feel free to drop any reviews you want to drop. And if you fancy checking out our website, check out ours. It's thecookiecast.com. We've got some social media links and email button. You can get in touch with us. That's it for this one. Till next time, I'm going to say bye. I'll see you then.